Rose Coleman back with another video. Today I'd like to feature a card using the Sure Do Love You stamp set and as well as the matching framelets, the Lots to Love box framelets. You can see them here. I have them in one of our clear mount cases and we're just going to get started. In the occasions catalog for 2018, Stampin' Up sells 12 by 12 cardstock, and I'm super thrilled about that because I am a scrapbooker and I also like to make different size cards, and sometimes having a piece of 12 by 12 cardstock is better for different cards. So this piece of cardstock is from the Melon Mambo 12 by 12 collection. There's actually 3 colors. There's Calypso Coral, Powder Pink, and then this is the Melon Mambo. So I've cut it at 5.5 inches wide by 12, and then I've scored it at 4 inches and 8 inches, okay, so to make these 3 panels. So it folds like this. So I'm just going to set that aside for a second, and I'm going to pull in my layers. So I have a layer of the Painted with Love Designer Series paper. I love the gold foil accents on this Designer Series paper, and this piece of DSP measures 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to actually lay this on the front panel of my card. I'm not going to glue it down yet, and you'll see why in a second, but I'm just going to lay it on top, leaving about 1/4 inch border. I'm going to bring it to my Big Shot platform here, if you can see this in the bottom of your screen. And I'm going to use one of my dies from the Lots to Love Framelit Box dies. I'm going to use the heart, okay? So I'm just going to line that up on top of my Big Shot platform. And I'm going to cut through both pieces at once, okay? So I'm just going to roll that through, and you can see it. You can see it on the camera there now. It's coming through. Sorry for the jiggling. And I'm just going to roll forward and back because I just need to cut the heart shape in that front panel. There we go. So now what I have is I've got 2 hearts, and I've actually got the front of my panel has the hole, the heart-shaped hole cut through both pieces, okay? So I'm gonna now bring in a piece of vellum. This is our cardstock vellum, and I've cut that the same size as my Designer Series paper, and it is 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. I'm just gonna mount that right on the back of this piece of Designer Series paper. Just gonna use some fast fuse, go along the edges, and then I'm just gonna stick that right down on the back of my Designer Series paper, like that. Now I'm going to bring in my stamp. So from the Sure Do Love You stamp set, we're going to be using this one right here, You're My Valentine Every Single Day. So I'm going to ink that up with some Melon Mambo ink. And I'm actually going to stamp that right inside the hole, the heart-shaped hole, right onto the vellum, okay? So you can see clear mount stamps are really good for this. You can see where you're stamping. There we go. So you might want to give that a heat zap with a heat gun or let it sit for a bit. It takes a little while to dry onto vellum cardstock because the ink tends to want to sit on the vellum. So I'm just not going to smudge that. I'm just going to let it sit aside for a second while I stamp up some other pieces. So I've got some scrap Whisper White here, and I'm going to bring in my Sure Do Love You stamp, and I've got one of the little hearts that says I'm yours. I'm going to stamp that one as well onto some scrap. Let me grab my scrap white here. Just got some scrap white, and I'm going to stamp the Sure Do Love You in Melon Mambo ink. I'm going to stamp that right down here, and the I'm Yours I'm going to stamp in Powder Pink on the same piece of scrap white. And I'm going to put that back on my Big Shot platform and bring in those framelets. So I have a framelit that will match the Sure Do Love You banner. And sometimes these want to jiggle on me a little bit, so I'm just going to use a sticky note to hold it down. The magnetic platform does a good job, but my plates are getting old. You really want to update your plates, and I need to remember to order some new ones. Once they get old and they're scratched and warped, you want to replace them, because sometimes the magnetic platform won't work as well. If you get brand new plates, the magnetic platform is perfect. So I just don't want to have to stamp them again. So I'm using some sticky notes to hold them down. I'm just going to roll them through gently so that your screen doesn't jiggle. Sorry about that. And then I'll just pull off the sticky note and take my dies out, my die cuts. All right, now I am ready to put this quick card together. So I'm just gonna zoom in a little bit so you can see me. All right, so I'll just move my Big Shot off to the side here and my stamps. Close up my ink pad so I don't make a mess. And so remember my panel, my front panel of my card is gonna have this piece on it. So instead of, well, I can. Yeah, I was gonna say instead of flipping it over, you could put your adhesive on the front, but I'm just gonna flip this over gently and just add some fast fuse to the corners. And I'm gonna put this down here on the front, and you can actually open it so you can see that you're lining up that heart with the heart-shaped opening, just like that. Now, the bottom part of my card down here, I've got just a piece of Whisper White that measures same size, 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. I'm just gonna mount that on the bottom panel, like that. And then the pieces that I just stamped and die cut, I'm gonna use dimensionals for those. Flip them over here. And one on the heart. And I'm gonna just take this piece and it's gonna be my anchor for my card. I'm just gonna stick that down there and I'm gonna put the little I'm yours heart right there. And when you cut out that designer series paper, you get a nice little heart shape. You know, you could put that on your envelope. I'm actually gonna just stick mine right inside my card on that third inside panel. And there you have it. It sits like a little tent fold like this. So now I'm going to, I found these little heart-shaped tea lights at the dollar store. Aren't they cute? So I'm just gonna pop that inside and then I'm gonna give this card to my husband. I can show him that he can actually light up the tea light. It'll be just like my heart is throbbing just for him. It's Valentine's Day, I can get giddy. Okay, so one more thing. I can embellish my card with some ribbon. I have the metal edge ribbon here, the white, Whisper White silver ribbon. I'm just gonna bring it in behind the card here and cut myself a nice big piece and tie that around. Let's just line this up and just tie it in a little knot. There we go. And I'll trim off my ends. And there we have it. And there's my Valentine card. So this would make a great wedding card too. I mean, you could leave out the sure you are my Valentine, but you could stamp other things inside the heart. Wedding wishes, you know, anything. So the Sure Do Love You stamp set, I've used it a lot for Valentine's Day, but it's not just a Valentine's set, okay? So hope you like my card today, and I hope you'll try this tent fold card. And happy Valentine's Day. Take care. Bye-bye.